Doctor Strange 2 in the Multiverse of Madness is now in theaters, and after getting pushed from March to May, I have to say I'm surprised on how incredible the movie is. Was able to see it today with my dad, and I had so much fun. Throughout this video, we're breaking down the movie, talking about all the cameos in it, and some huge Easter eggs. So the movie follows Doctor Strange protecting America Chavez against a mother who's going to do everything in her power to get to her kids, believing that they're in danger. If you remember in the post-credit scene of WandaVision, she started studying the darkhold. She heard her kids asking for help. Something to know about the darkhold is the following. In the comic book Carnage Volume 2, released in 2016, it's explained that the darkhold controls Dad who reads it. It says the following: just remember, in the end you don't use the darkhold, it uses you. This is just manifestation of the darkhold. The darkhold wants to use Wanda to bring destruction. This is why Agatha said you're set to destroy the world.
It's your destiny to destroy the world.
Because reading the darkhold, she goes in a rampage, destroying everyone in her path. This includes the sorcerers in KamarTaj, as well as the Illuminati. Going to the film, we all had one question: is Tom Cruise in the film? The answer is no, sadly. His cameo may have been deleted, as the only tease of him is the statues we see in the Illuminati HQ. The Illuminati are not the ones we know from the comics, and the ones we see in the film are the following: John Krasinski as Mr. Fantastic, yes, our dreams came true and he is epic. Anson Mount as the Black Bolt, Haley Atwell as Captain Carter, a variant from the one we know from What If, Lashana Lynch as Captain Marvel. This is a what if situation where instead of Carol getting her powers, is Lashana, mother of Monica Rambeau. Patrick Stewart as Charles Xavier. He has a lot of similarities of that of X-Men from the animated series, including his yellow chair. It was a surprise to see Anson Mount as a Black Bolt, as well as Charlize Theron in the post-credit scene. These are characters a lot of people don't know, and I had to explain to my dad who they are and how they connect to the story. If you don't know about them, let me provide some details. Clea in the comics used the magic of the Dark Dimension. This is the same magic Sinister Strange used in the movie later on. In the comics, she's the Sorcerer Supreme of the Dark Dimension, and I strongly believe that this is a character that we're going to see in the next film, going from that post-credit scene. Clea and Strange have a love relationship in the comics. Anson as Black Bolt was a big surprise, not going to lie. He's a character that appeared in the TV series Inhumans. The show was not successful, but I believe Kevin Feige wanted to give the actor another opportunity to play him. This is expanding the multiverse. As the multiverse expands and grows, we start discovering about different realities, as well as connecting the story. The primary focus of the film is the story of Wanda, who after the events of WandaVision and getting smart with the darkhold is more powerful than ever. The story is around 2 years after those events of Westview, and how she's doing everything in her power to be with her kids. To do this, she will need to travel the multiverse, but she's not able to do so. This is the reason she's starting to summon so many monsters in the film. The beginning of the film follows Defender Strange with America Chavez escaping from this monster who's chasing them, as they try to get the Book of Vishanti. Now Defender Strange is a Doctor Strange variant that belongs to a group of superheroes called the Defenders, a group of heroes that tend to be informal and are usually prone to their own agenda. The reason this character wants the Book of Vishanti is because this book is able to go against any dark spell. Two sides, and each side can fight the other, this being the Book of Vishanti and the Darkhold. This is important throughout the film, as the book can deflect magic. The film takes inspiration from different comic books. This takes inspiration when Doctor Strange creates a rift in reality, helping Spider-Man, something that we see in No Way Home. But in the film, we can get confirmation on the way he sees those events. As from his perspective, he was fixing a rift in reality. When he's explaining this to America Chavez, she says she doesn't know who Spider-Man is, and this scene has a nice callback to Spider-Man, as it was Sam Raimi who directed it, and in Spider-Man 2 we have a mention of Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange.
That's pretty good.
but it's taken.
Going full circle, like my grandmother's pumpkin pie. Spider-Man No Way Home was the beginning of the multiverse, and this is a continuation of that. They think that the cause of this monster coming in the world is because of the consequences of Strange fixing reality. They still remember those events, but they don't remember the part of Peter. The movie as well takes inspiration from the Darkhold Alpha, where the Scarlet Witch goes against Doctor Doom. There's a comic book series that covers the Darkhold and those who get corrupted by it. My favorite being the Darkhold Spider-Man. You should check it out. Okay, so we continue the story where Defender Strange wants to give Chavez to the monster, and it's the only way not to break reality. Defender Strange and America Chavez escape from a monster that Wanda summoned. After Defender Strange is willing to sacrifice America Chavez, this reminds me of the scene in Avengers Infinity War where Strange says the following.
Time Stone. I will not hesitate to let either of you die.
Oculus of the multiverse. Their sacrifice means infinitely more than their lives.
Something we see here, as well as in No Way Home, where this can bring destruction to the multiverse, just to showcase the dark path sometimes Doctor Strange takes for their own personal goals, which we see in a few Doctor Strange, like in What If, and what we see later with Sinister Strange. Now this is when the monster then kills Defender Strange, with Chavez open a portal taking the body. This plays an important part later in the film, as is the body that he used to go to the Darkhold location. It's not confirmed that this is Wundagore Mountain, but it can connect, as in the comics, this is the birth of Wanda. We continue the movie where we see Doctor Strange waking up from this nightmare, but as we get to see are events that are happening across the multiverse. He then goes and works on his watch. This was a gift from Palmer, and later in the film is the key to open the multiverse. This allows Strange to take the book of Vishanti. I just love how this item is important in other realities, a motif across the multiverse, and the lives of Palmer and Strange. Now there are 14 million possibilities on you liking this video, so let's see if this reality is one of them, as well as seeing if you subscribe to the channel. Only one. Strange gets ready for the wedding, and during this part of the movie we see funny moments as well as a conversation between Palmer and Strange. They talk about their life and the things that go away. It's just to set the tone for the film about the actions that we take. This is when Gargantos arrive, and we saw most of this scene from the clip's release. Gargantos is stopped by Wong as he's killed with a lamppost, where she wants to eat a pizza to calm her mind. She explained that his dreams are real. This is when America Chavez explains to Strange why she's there and reveals the body of Defender Strange, where Wong says one Strange was enough. She says she can travel the multiverse, and she also explains that she's looking for the Book of Vishanti, and Wong knows what it is. This is important as we can see the story of America Chavez, and the movie easily explains who she is. They also discuss Spider-Man, and this was absolutely hilarious, as they joke about Spider-Man shooting web from a particular place, which I cannot say. Wanda is someone that can help during these events, as Wong says it's not magic, it's witchcraft. This is the reason Doctor Strange goes to her, cutting to Wanda dreaming of being with her kids. This scene was so sad, and we got the intro of WandaVision. The echo from that show is in the film. She then goes to cut the branches in the trees. This is a real location that looks like a real location, what we get to see is not really real. Moving into the big part of the movie, Strange and Wanda had a discussion about the multiverse and about America Chavez. This is when he noticed what's happening with Wanda, and she changes the reality into this red wood that looks straight from a horror movie. She threatens Strange to not to get in her way, and this is when we go to KamarTaj to protect Chavez. We're introduced to Rentra, a minotaur, which looks absolutely hilarious. Wanda goes there and she destroys everything and everyone. This is when Strange puts Wanda in the mirror dimension, and they're able to escape across the multiverse. But Strange's cape gets burned. In that trip across the multiverse, we get different realities. And during this, we see the Living Tribunal. They were originally going to appear in Infinity War, but as we can see here, we finally get to see them. We also saw them in Loki. The Living Tribunal is a very powerful being with cosmic powers that allows him to change reality at will. This power comes from his ability to absorb and release energy from any source. His name comes from this ability because it translates into He Who Judges Between Worlds. And fun fact, the Living Tribunal first known encounter with a being of Earth 616 was with Earth's Source Supreme, Doctor Strange in Strange Tales issue 157 to 159. We also see a Noir world, some painting world, and a location that looks like Savage Land, as well as the animated one. No big cameos during this, so that was a little bit of a letdown. So they arrived to this reality where there's an Iron Legion across the world, similar to that of Iron Man in Age of Ultron. They go to a reality where it's Strange who was the one that sacrificed himself to defeat Thanos. America Chavez jokes about the rules of the multiverse, and we get a different dynamic. They arrive to the Sanctum Sanctorum, and they have a small discussion about what's going on. This is when Mordo poisons them. Now both of them are now in the Illuminati prison, and I love the conversation where Strange talked to this variant of Palmer, and we get the dynamic of America Chavez and Strange. During this, Wanda is able to astral project into a Wanda living peacefully in this reality with her 2 kids and the same house that we saw in WandaVision. She flies to the Illuminati HQ where things are about to go down. Here, Strange has a trial against traveling the multiverse, and we're introduced to the Illuminati, and Strange says that Wanda is coming. Wanda fights all of the Illuminati and kills all of them. Some of them are taken to the interpretation that are alive, but from that fight, which was incredible, I cannot say that they're alive. Chavez breaks out of prison, while Strange fights with Mordo. Wanda and Xavier fight. He tries to heal her, but she snaps his neck. Palmer, Strange, and Chavez go to this underground tunnel, running away from Wanda. This is when Wanda is destroying stuff, and she's full of blood from all the people that she killed. And that fight between Wanda and the character of Captain Carter was so awesome. I was so happy to see this, and it was a quick one, but awesome. He does a spell to hold her back. After Strange and Palmer finally reach the Book of Vishanti, Strange tries to defend them both, but Wanda grabs Chavez and Strange and Palmer go through the portal. They end up in a decimated New York City, and Chavez is nowhere to be seen. It's similar to that of What If, the brush effect of the reality being deleted. This is when we get a conversation between Sinister Strange and Doctor Strange. Now we get to understand more about what happened to the Strange and why after the death of Palmer in this reality, he wanted to do everything in his power to get to a reality that she's alive or that she can be with her, and this is why he started studying the darkhold. And we can see here this reality was deleted. Now they have a conversation about their own personal life, and this is huge because we have information about Donna Strange, who was a Strange sister who died in a swimming pool. And it's a little different for him, but it's pretty much the same. It will be interesting to know if Stephen Strange, his brother who turns into a vampire, is going to be in the film and in a future film. And with Blade coming soon, this can connect to that, as maybe Blade is going to kill his brother, and this Strange has to defend his brother. So that's just the theory for now. But we continue when this conversation that obviously Sinister Strange wants Palmer in from the reality, the Illuminati reality, and he says no, and this is when we have a fight. This fight was so cool with the music sheets, and the music and the score was really weird, but it's just so awesome. But what happens that this Sinister Strange dies, and during this is when the darkhold is destroyed. So we have a lot of jumping from one scene to the next, but what happens is that the darkhold is destroyed, and this brings the Wanda back into that reality. What happened is that America Chavez is also there in KamarTaj, and all of them go into the mountain where there's another darkhold. This is Wundagore Mountain, and we get a mention of Shaitan, which as we know is a really big character from the comics, but this was just so awesome, and I cannot wait to see what direction they go. So the decision that this Strange has to do is using the darkhold to go into that world. He decides to use a possession spell that is able to control the body of the character of the Defender Strange that we saw at the beginning of the movie, and he's like zombie, and this is just so awesome. It's just absolutely hilarious. Now during this, Palmer has to protect the body of Strange. The dam doesn't take him. Going into the final arc of the movie, we get a awesome fight between the character of Strange and Wanda. Strange gives words of empowerment to the character of America Chavez, and this is when she starts hitting, and she takes her into a reality where the kids see her and they're scared of her, hinting that hey, they don't want that as her mom. So this creates a sense of clarity into the character of Wanda, like hey, I don't want her to hurt my kids. And this is when she decides to delete all, or pretty much destroy all the darkhold in all of the realities. So this is gonna have big consequences in the future. Now going from what we see next is when she decides to destroy this, and America Chavez and Doctor Strange escape. But obviously we can see that Scarlet Witch is not dead. She just was hit, but she's powerful, so I don't think they're gonna kill her. But this just connects to a whole other plot line that they can go, which I'm gonna go and talk about in a moment. But yeah, that's how the story of Scarlet Witch ends. Going into what happened next is where we see the character of Strange. America Chavez is back in KamarTaj, and they're gonna go ahead and train her as she decides to stay with them. Now, what happens at the end of the movie, as Strange gets corrupted by the Darkhold, he has the third eye as he is opening to the corruption. Now, this connects to the comics as well, which is just huge, and his powers are awesome. So that's how the movie ends. But now going to the post-credit scene where we see the character of Clea, Charlize Theron, was so awesome to see her. She has a purple cloak. I cannot show that. I don't want to go ahead and risk the channel or anything like that, but she looks absolutely incredible. And what she says, hey, you caused a collusion in the multiverse, and this connects to the story about different realities being exploded together or merged together. And this is a big cause and effect to what's going to happen in the events of Secret Wars, which is one of the biggest events in the multiverse. So they're just starting that, connecting that this is what they're going to do next. So we will have to wait and see what's going to happen. But still, that's just absolutely awesome. And in the comics, it says the incursion, my mistake. As I started earlier, the time when two Earths began to collide is called an incursion, and every single one of them is exactly the same. Before they begin, there's a very short period of harmony, alignment, which is what allows the two Earths to exist in the same space. Of course, all the worlds are together, but this is infinite. At the end of those 8 hours, what follows is extremely simple. Either both worlds are destroyed along with their respective universe as they smash together. The single bit of good news here is that we should be able to detect this and therefore create an early warning system, so at least we'll know when one is coming. Regardless when the incursion is actually begins, our time to act grows very short, as each incursion lasts exactly 8 hours. So this is what's going to start the multiverse war. All these Earths are going to start getting destroyed. This is why Clea goes to him. You caused an incursion. Why? Maybe he did so many things in this movie, traveling from one Earth to the next, as that is not possible. You cannot do that. As again, this creates an incursion. And what I believe is going to happen, that we know that Clea is going to be in the next film, and I would love to see that relationship from the comics here. But that's the overall film. They set up a lot of things like the multiversal war, like Secret Wars. They set up the next film with the third eye of Doctor Strange, which looks awesome, and I cannot wait to see that. But going from what we kind of understand is that Strange is going to be corrupted. He's going to maybe turn evil in the next film. That's something that could happen if they want to go in that direction. But yeah, overall, the film was great. I loved it. The visual effects were epic. I love every take that they did, and I love how they really set up things for the future of the MCU. And there's some things that do not work the way I wanted them to work, but I accept that as it's a Sam Raimi film, and we can see that. There's a lot of things that are like, wait, where did that came from? Like when Wanda kills Professor X, like this like horror, like a witchy like monster. I don't know what that came, like what? And some takes and the way they communicate is not the best way to do so, but the story makes sense if you know what's happening with Wanda, why she do this. But the way she just decides not to do it anymore, like, wait, what? I don't know. I just didn't like that. But yeah, that's my. I give it a 7.5 out of 10. It deserves it, and I cannot wait to see more of Sam Raimi in the MCU. But what are your thoughts? Leave in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this breakdown, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye, everyone.